Welcome. This is Leo Bray. This is Yanni. On behalf of Kristen Olson's Urban Yoga Center in Palm Springs, visit us online at urbanyoga.org or Kristen Olson's Urban Yoga Center on Facebook. Check out the schedule of daily classes available online and stop by the tip jar to make contributions to support our classes. This is our terrace in Cozumel. This is not Palm Springs. No one signed on today with Zoom for the morning flow class, so we're going to do a shorter video, talk about sun salutations and ways to modify them if you are feeling a limitation, an issue, some stiffness or soreness. Sometimes sun salutations, it's a basic component we use in a lot of flow practices and classes, but also it's a practice that we like to do sort of spur of the moment. Sunrise, sunset, you just be out somewhere and suddenly, we know what happens to us, we know what happens to others, like do some sun salutation. Sometimes you start into the sun salutation flow and realize like, ooh, something hurts, I don't want to do this. There are ways to work around that and find some alternatives, some things you can change. So we have our blocks out today because that's one great way to modify this sequence. The blocks in effect bring the ground closer to your hand and can give you more room for those transitions of bringing your legs forward when you're in a downward dog, stepping to forward fold, things like that. So imagining that your lower back is bothering you. Maybe you don't need to imagine that. Maybe you're like us. Using blocks under your hands can help modify your sun salutation and make the whole sequence more comfortable, more accessible. And we can just the block up. Generally, we use the block on that setting, that like first position, you might call it lowest. And that's going to be the stablest. That's the most surface area of the block you're going to get on the ground. You could use it here and gain more height. Just be aware that when you do that, the block can wobble and tip, and you don't want to tip over and hurt your wrist or your finger or something. So just be mindful of that. If you come up out of the lower position to the other one, that the block may want to wobble a bit. So not that you can't do it. And of course, if you come up here, more height, more wobble. It's a trade-off. I had a very tall client who, very long arms and legs, older person, who when he would come forward from downward dog into his forward fold, he steps his feet forward. He also stepped his hands back. He also changed the blocks from the first position to the second, and then from the second to the third. And that was what worked for him. So it was like several stages of coming out of it. But, with practice, any modification can flow smoothly. So we'll just go and do some basic sun salutation with the addition of blocks, and I'll talk up what I'm doing with the blocks and how they help. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Now, first thing about spraying your back is I'm going slow motion. Bend your knees. Let your legs help your back. So if you get here, maybe it's here, somewhere about here, your back, you can bring your hands to your legs and you can press your hands to your legs and let your arms support your back. So maybe it's like that. And it doesn't have to be this slow. I'm exaggerating this, but maybe it is this slow. That's okay. And bring your hands to the ground. In this case, the blocks. We talk about grounding. It's whatever you're touching down on. It's not necessarily the ground. Step. No, I was forgetting something. Lift halfway up. And again, your hands can come to your leg. Exhale, come down. Then step back to plank. Start talking a lot about one part and forget something else. Find your plank. Find your hips coming down in line with your shoulders and your knees. And of course, your knees can come down and make a shorter plank anytime if that's your preference. So that can help your lower back too. Exhale, lower down. Let's go all the way for the first one. Elbows in close to the body. So there can be some awkwardness of position there. The corners of the block sort of poking me in the upper ribs. So you can sort that out. Maybe you set them aside until you're ready to come to your cobra or up dog, and then you bring the blocks back under your hands. When you're ready, press into your hands, inhale, lift your head and chest. And especially when your lower back is bothering you, but anytime you're in this sequence, the height of heart opener that's right for you can be decided by your lower back. So maybe it's way down to old cobra, some say baby cobra, whatever height works. So maybe it's higher, maybe it gets higher with repetition, but listen to your lower back. We can get into trouble by trying to look like the next person, whether that's someone next to you or a teacher you're following, but listen to your lower back. Now, often on the first one, but really on any sun salutation, you can go from your heart opener to down dog by passing through table. You don't have to do that super smooth fluid thing of going from cobra or up dog to down dog. Come through table, curl your toes under, and then press into your feet to lift your knees. Then press into your hands to lift your tail. So I'm keeping the blocks under my hands the whole time. And then you can pedal your feet up and down like we usually do with the first one and let the heels get closer to the ground. So things to be mindful of here, depending on the type of blocks and mat that you have, and maybe even just your environment. How warm is it? How dry or humid is it where you are? Your blocks might slide on the mat, so be mindful of this. Don't let your hands run away from you and plop onto your face. When I use the blocks that Yanni has right now on this mat that I'm on, there's a lot of sliding. This mat is very worn and it's gotten a bit slippery. But these blocks I'm using are much more textured and don't tend to slide as much. But as I say that, one of them slides. Now from here, usually the cue is inhale, bend your knees, look forward. As you exhale, step forward. So maybe you step your feet to your hands, but maybe it feels better to step your hands to your feet. And you can slide the blocks or pick them up in your hands to do that. And you could do a combination of both. I spoke about my really tall client in the several ways that he modified this transition. I had another client, a short person, short arms, short legs, short torso. And that client needed to do some stepping forward and some stepping back to get to the forward fold. Inhale, lift part way up. Exhale, come down. Inhale all the way up. Exhale, hands to your heart. So the more you lose, the more you use your legs, the more you spare your back. And your legs are much stronger than your back. Your legs are the most powerful portion of your body is your legs. So, and to give a side view, you often see sun salutations like this. I don't do this except when I'm demonstrating what not to do. This lock the legs. This is all about my lower back, and it doesn't feel good. And I see it a lot. It doesn't work for me. I'll say that. I'm not going to say someone who's doing that is doing it wrong. It doesn't work for me. It doesn't work for this 51-year-old back. Bending the legs is what works for me. I learned with an Alexander technique teacher from my early training about body mechanics, about skillful use, about listening to my body. So every bit of work that my legs do is some work that my back doesn't have to do. So let's do another one. Inhale, we reach up. Exhale, we fold down. And these breath cues help too. Certain movements encourage inhaling, some encourage exhaling. Inhale, lift up part way. Exhale, come down. Step to your plank. And it's okay if it takes more than one step for each foot. Doesn't matter how many steps. For at least a beat, maybe a half breath, let your hips come down in line with your shoulders and knees. Exhale, lower halfway or all the way. Inhale, come forward, the height of heart opener that's right for you right now. Exhale, back and up to down dog. Maybe pass through table, maybe not. When you're ready, inhale, bend your knees, look forward, and then make your way to forward fold, whatever that looks like. Maybe it's all stepping the feet forward, maybe bringing hands back, maybe changing the height of your blocks. Inhale, lift part way up. Exhale down. Inhale all the way out. Exhale, hands to heart. Yeah, I just did that so I can move my blocks back up here. Sometimes on my way up standing, I'll grab my water bottle and have my bottle in my hand. One more.
Yeah.
Feels good. I'll do one more because now it feels good. Inhale up. Exhale down. Soft knees, let the legs do the work. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale down. Step back to plank. And so Yanni is coming into that forward fold much more easily and fully than when we started, not very long ago. Exhale down, inhale forward, exhale back and up. Let's take 3 cleansing breaths. Inhale, bend your knees, look forward. Exhale, make your way to forward fold. And whatever way works for you. Another thing you could do, you can change the height of your blocks. You can also just change the hand position. And maybe tense your fingers. Now, if it feels okay, if that's good and you may or may not like how that feels. Inhale, lift part way up. Exhale down. Inhale all the way up. Exhale, hands to your heart. So maybe coming up on tented fingers like that doesn't feel good to you. To me, it feels good. I happen to have strong hands from a lot of practice. I can do fingertips. I found that out because someone asked me if I could. I hadn't thought of doing it before, but anyway, tented fingers may work for you. If not, you can change the height of your blocks. So maybe you just get inspired for sudden sun salutation. Maybe you have a little more time, you take a little more time, make a little more time, and a little more thoughtful and planful around it. And you deliberately want to warm up before your sun salutation. So let's start with another sequence of just some things you might do before coming into sun salutation. So we'll start with upper body. So first, adjusting the way your shoulders ride. So your shoulders sit independently at different heights. You may not notice the difference, but that's what they do. So we adjust them independently like this. Raise your right shoulder towards your ear and slide it back and let it down. And then your left shoulder up and back and down. So this is opening the shoulders. We have a lot of habitual rounding in our very front body focused kind of world we live in. Opening up the space where the heart and the lungs live. Inhale, reach out to the side. Exhale, you could reach for your shoulder blades and hug yourself, or you can take eagle arms and intertwine your arms and press your hands together. If you can't do your palms, you could press the backs of your hands, that's fine too. If you do eagle, then you could move your elbows and hands forward and up. If you hug your shoulder blades, you can do what Yanni's doing for her neck and rolling the chin back and forth. Inhale to open up again. And as you exhale across the opposite way, take your hug or take your eagle arms. Inhale, open up. Exhale, let your arms down. We can do a deeper heart opener from standing here. Inhale out and up. Interlace your fingers, reach your palms up, and look up at your hand, lift up your heart. Yes, it's nice to mind space when you're practicing together so you don't hit each other when you do these arm movements. It's also nice to move slowly, just in case you do. Inhale to bring yourself upright. Exhale, bend to the right, side bend. So we open up the front of the heart space, then in crossing the arms, the back, and now the side. Because opening the heart is not just about the front of the body, the heart It's three-dimensional. The chest is three-dimensional. Inhale up, exhale, bend left. Inhale up, exhale, arms down. Come down onto our hands and knees and do a little bit with the legs. So some preliminary things we might do before sun salutation. From table, you could also do heart opening by doing cow cat breaths. Inhale, bring your heart forward, let your head and tailbone go up. Exhale, draw your heart up, let your head and tailbone come down. So you can do those. You can also just do some things more focused on your limbs. Reach right foot back, pressing into the ball of your foot. You can take some breaths there. Get into balancing a bit. If you want to go further, you could pick that foot up, reach straight back as if to make a footprint on the wall back there. And then on an inhale, you can reach the opposite hand forward or to the side. And if you feel steady enough there and you want to try it, you can bend your knee and reach back. See if you take hold of your foot or your ankle, or maybe just your pant leg. You could also have a strap in your hand, hooked over your foot. Release, lower down. Reach back, press into the other foot. Inhaling, pick your foot up, reach straight back. Inhaling, extend the opposite arm. And if you like, bend your knee and reach back and see about that bind. Release and lower down. And that'll be it for today. Just a shorter video. We found that we've heard from you, our clients who watch our YouTube videos, that it's helpful to have some shorter videos to choose from when selecting practice from the YouTube library that we're built up here at Urban Yoga. So here's one of those shorter sequences. Those times when you don't have an hour that you can carve out of your day for practice, or you're just looking for something more focused, like some help with some sun salutation modifications. So thanks for joining us. We're available every day on Zoom. Folks in Palm Springs, we're available in person, outdoors at Ruth Hardy Park if you want to join us. Details online at Kristen Olson's Urban Yoga Center on Facebook or urbanyoga.org. Thanks for joining us. Namaste. Awkward little kneeling sideways bow.